What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Maurice Hooker versus Blair Cobbs, and this was a 10-rounder in the super welterweight division, and this fight was Saturday, August 6th from Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, and this fight was broadcasted on DAZN, and in this fight, Blair Cobbs was able to get an upset unanimous decision victory over Maurice Hooker. So I personally scored this bout a wide 98 to 89 in favor of Cobbs. All three judges had it in favor of Cobbs, having it 97 to 90 twice and 96 to 91 once. So Blair Cobbs scored multiple knockdowns in this fight, and he looked really good while doing it. This was a very impressive performance from Blair Cobbs. I actually thought he was going to get knocked out going into this fight, but I mean, he beat a really solid fighter in Hooker, and Hooker's definitely a top 20, top maybe even 15 rated fighter. So this was a very good win for Blair Cobbs. And on paper, I mean, this is a better win than the opponent that he lost to in Alexis Rocha. I mean, on paper, Hooker is a better fighter, and Cobbs was able to get the victory. So this is a very good win for Blair Cobbs. But just to break this fight down, in round number 1, Blair Cobbs landed a big overhand right. And the thing is, throughout this entire fight, Blair Cobbs was catching Maurice Hooker at the end of punches. He would throw a left hand, then go with the right hook. Hooker wouldn't see it, and he'd get hammered with the right hook. So exactly that's what happened in round 1, where Maurice Hooker was worried about blocking the left hand when Blair Cobbs threw a left hand, it got blocked, but then the whole right side, or the whole left side of Hooker's face was open, and then Cobbs threw a big overhand right, buckled Hooker back, and then came on with some big combinations that dropped Hooker in the first round. Then in round number 2, Hooker went down again. It was a big left hand at the end of another punch as well that sent Hooker to the canvas. And then again, towards the end or right after that knockdown, actually, towards the end of the round, Maurice Hooker was stumbling a bit back off getting hit with another shot. Then he got hit with a perfectly placed left hand sort of on the chin area that sent him down to the canvas. It just sort of touched him in the perfectly right spot that sent him down to the canvas. And those were two big rounds for Blair Cobbs that really set him up to win this fight, because without those knockdowns, it could have been much closer. But then in the third round, it was a really close round, actually. Could have went either way. That was one of 2 rounds that I did give to Maurice Hooker. Hooker started to get his legs back from getting dropped. He was able to walk down Blair Cobbs a bit and start to land some punches. That's why I gave him that round, but it could have went either way. But the thing is, after those knockdown rounds, Blair Cobbs started to stop coming forward, and he was just boxing. That's what happened in rounds 4 and 5, which are rounds that I did give to Blair Cobbs. He was boxing, really countering Maurice Hooker, landing big shots. And specifically in rounds 4 and 5, like I said before, that I gave to Cobbs, he was just buckling Hooker with some big hooks and exchanges, and was winning those rounds pretty easily. And then around 6, it was a round that I gave to Maurice Hooker, actually, because it was definitely a big round for Hooker. He was walking down Cobbs very well, and that was 100% a round you could have definitely given to him. He started walking down Cobbs, landing big shots, and it was definitely a turn in the tide compared to what happened throughout the entire fight. But then on my scorecard, rounds 7, 8, 9, and 10 all went to Blair Cobbs. Although you might say Blair Cobbs was running because he knew that he won this fight, and yes, he was. He was definitely running away from the offense of Hooker, and he was definitely trying to not get hit and making it very boring, if I'm going to be 100% honest. But it was still a great fight nonetheless, even though towards the latter half of the fight, Blair Cobbs was really avoiding action. But it's not like he was avoiding action. Or what I'm trying to say is, it's not like he was boxing and throwing punches. He was literally just running around the ring. I mean, that's just the plain way to put it. But the thing is, Maurice Hooker, who had a big reach advantage, was trying to walk him down, but wasn't doing anything with it. He would just walk him down, not throw any punches, then get hit with some counter jabs, counter shots, and that's why I gave all of those rounds to Blair Cobbs. So, I mean, comment down below how you scored it, if you did watch it, and, yeah, this goes into the question, what is next for Blair Cobbs? Big win this is. I mean, massive win. I think in his next fight, he could take on the loser of the main event for this card, which is Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Michael McKinson. I mean, obviously, most likely, Michael McKinson's going to lose, but if Michael McKinson wants to stay and fight in the United States, I mean, that could definitely be his next opponent. Blair Cobbs would be a very solid fight, but it might not happen because maybe this is McKinson's last stint in the United States. Who knows? But yeah, I think Blair Cobbs should definitely face someone inside the top 30, top 25 in the welterweight division in his next fight, if not the loser of McKinson and Ortiz Jr.'s fight. But as for Maurice Hooker, losing here for the third time, this is a tough loss because before this fight, Maurice Hooker only lost a really good competition, losing to Virgil Ortiz Jr. by knockout and Jose Carlos Ramirez by knockout, which are two really, really good fighters. But then here he loses to a fighter who's ranked literally like number 60 by BoxRec, and he was a favorite over to win. And yeah, I think in his next fight, he should definitely tone it down a bit. He should definitely take on a lower ranked opponent, get a solid confidence booster before maybe getting another, maybe a decent step up win against someone inside the top 30. It's really just building back up for him if he wants to continue his career, because this was a very tough loss. I mean, he's got to build himself back up, and he's got to go through the ranks again and possibly fight more tougher guys like he was doing, like how he was campaigning at 140 when he was going up into his title reign. He's got to build himself back up here at 147. So overall, Blair Cobbs drops Maurice Hooker 3 times to ultimately get a clear and pretty wide unanimous decision victory. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.